Hey, it's Josh Jacobs, and you're listening to the Fantasy Football Counselor.
Hey guys, the Counselor here. Huge show today. We're talking top 10 boomer busts, and you got to be aware of these guys because you don't want to draft a guy that could potentially bust on you. Huge episode. Before I get into that, though, I got an important announcement. We are launching something massive. So I've talked to all of the top influencers for every NFL team, the Lions guy, the Eagles guy, the Bears guy, the Cowboys guy. I've got all the top influencers, real people out there putting out amazing content with passion, heart, desire, real people, real personalities, all coming together on Fan to Fan Network. We're going to be going live on Twitch in August. The site is going live soon. This is a huge announcement, so I had to bring it, right in the forefront here before the episode. So guys, head on over to Fan to Fan Network on Instagram at Fan to Fan Network. And there's a link here below. You gotta follow the Twitch channel because that's where we're gonna be producing our content, right? So you have to head on over to FTFN on Twitch. There's also a link here below on YouTube. I've pinned it in the comments below. And I'm telling you guys, Fan to Fan is a game changer. Finally, a voice that sports fans deserve. Check it out. And of course, guys, get the 16-round draft solution. The first ever and only video training, guys. A video training to help you guys with your roster. Many of you guys have a balanced roster, sleepers, breakouts, every player to draft in each round. This is the game changer. Guys, we are in fantasy football season. It's a go. It's going to happen this season. So get the 16-round draft solution link below as well, or head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Had to make those announcements, okay? All right, let's talk about the show. We're talking top 10 boomer busts. Guys that if you draft them, and their ADP is high for most of these guys, if you draft them, they could boom or they could bust, but it's a big roll of the dice. So if you get any of these guys, make sure that you guys cover yourself with depth. That's what I talk about in the 16-round draft solution. Some of these guys I don't even recommend in my 16-round draft solution because their ADP is too high. I'm just going to stay away from them. Guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, guys like DeAndre Hopkins. We're going to dive into it right now and tell you what I think about them and why they're going to be boomer or bust and if you should draft them. So like some deep analysis here in the thought process and if you should avoid them or not, okay? Big episode. Let's get to it. So also leave a comment below with your questions. I'll get to as many questions as I can here on YouTube and smash that thumbs up. All right, the first guy here, again, top 10 boomer bust fantasy football 2020. First guy here is Tyreek Hill. Listen, this guy's ADP is extremely, extremely high. And when I mean high, he's like top 3, wide receiver amongst wide receivers in rankings right now, which means you're going to probably pay an end of the first round draft pick for him if you want him. Now, when I talk about boomer bust, he fits that definition. Now, if you look at his stats, last year he finished 32nd in PPR, not good at all, right? Not good at all. He only played 12 games, a little banged up, 860 yards, 7 touchdowns. So you're saying, Joe, okay, bit of a fluke here. He was down a bit, but this guy's ultra elite. I've actually been watching training videos on Tyreek Hill, elite talent. This is a guy that I loved years ago. I was saying he's better than Antonio Brown. People are like, you're crazy. I'm like, dude, this guy is a freak athlete, right? What turns me off of him is the off-field issues and, of course, the domestic stuff and the injuries in the past. So that's one big turnoff right there. Another turnoff with him is that there's a lot of mouths to feed with KC. Now they've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is probably going to catch the ball quite a bit. I think so. They've got Williams there still catching the ball in the backfield. They've got Kelsey. They've got McCole Hardman. They've got a ton of targets. Sammy Watkins saying he's going to catch 100 balls this year. Doubt that's going to happen. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of mouths to feed, and that's something you have to be cautious about. Another thing I don't like about him is that he has really boomer busty type games. So he'll have a game where he'll have 40 points. Next week he'll have 2 points. Big turnoff to me, right? So when you look at his stats here also, in 2016, he finished 25th amongst wide receivers in PPR, and he played 15 games in 2017, finished 9th, and in 2018, finished 3rd. So I'm not seeing top 3 finishes quite often here. In fact, the only time I see it as of recent date was 2018. He had that really good year. So when I look at Tyreek Hill here, I think to myself, I'm not investing a first-round pick in a guy that's extremely volatile on a game-by-game basis and, of course, hasn't really finished in the top 3 consistently. So, and there's a lot of targets to feed. So when I look at Tyreek Hill, there's a lot of question marks, and that's why he's a boomer bust player. So the verdict on this one, am I going to draft him? I'm going to say no to Tyreek Hill. be cautious and draft a running back there in the first round. I talk about all this in the 16-round draft solution, okay? Second guy here, boomer bust player, is Nick Chubb. Now, Nick Chubb had an amazing year last year, so much so that he actually finished 8th amongst running backs. 1,494 yards, which is pretty phenomenal. 8 touchdowns on the ground, not bad as well. 49 targets, 36 receptions. Had 49 targets, 36 receptions for 278 yards. Now, Kareem Hunt came in near the end of the season and outscored him 6 out of the 8 games they played together. When you look at Chubb and you're leaning boomer bust, he could boom. Trust me, he could still have a great season. But I'm leaning a little bit more bust when you look at Nick Chubb because, again, Kareem Hunt is there. Kareem Hunt was not there for the first 10 weeks of the season last year. When he came in, he took at least half of the volume, even outscoring him in PPR numbers. So Nick Chubb's a guy that I'm going to stay away, but is a guy I got to mention here as a guy that could boom or bust. It's very, very hard to trust when you look at Nick Chubb, okay? Third guy here, very, very boomer busty kind of guy here. And there's more than the 10, but these are the top 10. No particular order, but they're in the top 10 that caught my radar that could really boom or bust this year. But more bust and more, when it comes to a question mark of like, is that guy going to boom or bust? I tend to stay away. I want to make a disclaimer on that, okay? So I tend to stay away from all these guys pretty much. But I will give you some scenarios where I may draft them. All right, number 3, DeAndre Hopkins, currently sitting number 5 amongst wide receivers. Now, when I look at this guy, I really don't trust him. I don't trust him at all because he's on a new offense, new quarterback, new rapport with Kyler Murray. And now last year finished 5th amongst wide receivers, but he had 150 targets. And I keep going back to this example because it's very important. Larry Fitzgerald had 109 targets. He was a wide receiver 1 on the Cardinals. He maxed out at 109 targets. Christian Kirk had 107. They're still there. Now, even if they see a reduced workload, it's still, I still question, is Hopkins going to get 150 targets and finish top 5, which is where he's being drafted. He's drafted at the end of round 1. And I don't trust it. I don't think the volume's going to be there. I think the Cardinals line up 4 wide. I think Hopkins sees a lot of double coverage. I think Kyler Murray goes to his reliable targets. That is Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald. He's also got Drake out of the backfield. I am really, really suspect about DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's a major bust this season. Be cautious. But again, I got to put him in here. Boom or bust, because he could definitely boom. You could look at it the other way, half glass full. You could say Kyler Murray's young, dynamic. Hopkins has done well with really crappy quarterbacks before. He builds that rapport. I heard they're training together. He builds that rapport, and he does well. So definitely a boom or bust candidate. But for me personally, again, going robust RBs, what I implement in my 16-round draft solution, I'm staying away. And I'm noticing a lot of people are starting to implement the robust RB. There's a lot of copycats out there that are saying this is the way to go, which is something that people laughed at me years ago about, why, you got to go 0 RB. Like whoever invented 0 RB is an idiot, okay? Because there's only a handful of running backs that have minimal committees. And I'm telling you got to load up early, okay? So DeAndre Hopkins is the guy that's going to boom or bust. Coming at number 4, I'm going to give you a bonus here. There's 2 guys at number 4, Mike Evans and Godwin. I've talked about this. Both of these guys could either boom or bust, or one of them could really boom because I don't see enough targets to go around to make them both boom. And the Sheep system, mainstream consensus rankings have both of these guys in the top 10 because they're confused, because Godwin finished 2nd last year in PPR with 120 targets, 86 receptions, 9 touchdowns, and 1,333 yards. Phenomenal numbers, but he had a different quarterback throwing to him. Now with Brady there, Brady could gravitate to him because he threw to Edelman quite often. I think he threw to Edelman about 150 times. So when I look at Edelman, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Godwin is the next Edelman, but only one guy will emerge. That's the thing when I look at these guys. One guy will emerge. Is it going to be Evans? Is it going to be Godwin? I don't know. Edelman, 153 targets, 100 receptions for 6 touchdowns receiving, and over 1,000 yards, over 1,100 yards. So I'm looking at it like, to me, Brady gravitates to one person. Who's it going to be? Both these guys are boom or bust candidates. In a 12-person league, they're coming off, respectively, Godwin in the 2nd round, Evans in the 3rd round. And again, the Sheeps are confused because Evans is pretty much a wide receiver 1. So we got to put him in the top 10 because he's a wide receiver 1. But we can't take Godwin out because he finished 2nd in PPR last year. So they're confused. If there's this much confusion, not only with them, but for me specifically, because I'm confused as to who's going to be the guy, because we have not seen that rapport with any of these receivers in Brady. We don't know what we're getting into. We know Gronkowski's there. We know Keyshawn Vaughn was acquired in the NFL draft. We know Rojo's there. They catch the ball in the backfield because James White caught the ball in the backfield, 95 targets last year. We don't know, right? So if you don't know, why risk a 2nd round pick overall over a guy you don't know about? draft a running back in this position. You're going to be a lot safer, okay? Another boomer bust here at number 5 is Drew Lock. I think this is the one guy I think could actually boom. I got him here. He's more of a late round guy, pretty much going completely undrafted in a lot of leagues, but always get a backup with your quarterbacks. Drew Lock's a guy that could absolutely boom this year. Watched him in college, met him personally, met his agent. They're confident. I know they're confident in him. Obviously, the Broncos are as well. They put a lot of tools around him, including the top NFL wide receiver prospect in Jerry Jeudy. They've got Hamler they acquired as well. They got Melvin Gordon to catch the ball in the backfield. They got Cortland Sutton. They got Noah Fant who could catch the ball as a tight end. This guy is locked and loaded. I like Drew Lock as a potential boom. But again, like anything, he's going to be busting potentially. Like anything that could boom could bust. With a lot of upside comes a lot of risk. But the thing about Drew Lock is you get him super late, pretty much for free, and have that major upside. Get him as a backup quarterback. I think you'll be a happy person. Number 6 here, total boomer bust. I'm thinking a little bit leaning towards bust, but a lot of uncertainty around this guy. The guy I'm talking about is Kenyan Drake, who's currently sitting 11th on the Concheapsis rankings. He's up there, man. He's coming off early second round. Now, the thing about him that I don't trust is the years to wow me and I'm not wowed. I looked at his games. Now, his entire career, honestly, he's had like 6 fantasy-worthy games over 20 points, give or take one or two games. Literally, like he came alive in week 9 last year with the Cardinals, week 15 and week 16. That's it. You're going on a 3-game boom type kind of performance. And typically, I like running backs that come off near the end of the season and come on strong. David Johnson did it in 2015, came on strong, noticed him, picked him up, boomed in 2016. We saw it with Gurley coming on. We saw it with other guys last year. Derrick Henry, the year before this past year, he was coming off near the end of the 2018 season, going off. You saw that forward momentum. So again, similar type of situation here. But I think he's going to be the fool's gold. I think he's going to be the Damian Williams of 2020. You got to be careful here. Years to wow us, we're not wowed. We know the Cardinals have zero integrity in starting running backs. They don't care about their running backs. Look what they did to David Johnson. I think David Johnson's going to absolutely destroy Kenyan Drake in fantasy points this year being on the Texans. But that's besides the fact. Drake is a huge boomer bust here. I'm leaning a little bit towards bust. You get him in the second round. If you absolutely love the Cardinals, if you absolutely want him, I can't discourage you from getting him because, again, I see the ceiling here for sure. But you're looking at a guy who was drafted, another guy that was drafted on the Cardinals in the 7th round who may or may not make the team. Benjamin out of Arizona State. They got him. They've got Edmonds there. They're going to line up 4 wide. Hopkins, they've got a lot of weapons, and Kyler likes to run the ball on his feet. Kenyan Drake, be cautious here. I'm leaning a little bit towards bust. Don't buy in. I'm personally not, okay? Next guy here, I think there's more of a boom, but be cautious. The guy I'm talking about, number 7, is Miles Sanders. Love the talent, love the work ethic, love the upside, hate the team. Problem here with Miles Sanders is, they were already flirting. By the time you see this end of June here, they were looking at and flirting with Devontae Freeman. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to bring somebody else. But look what the Patriots did with Cam Newton. Cam Newton now acquired by the Patriots. They waited for the free agency. Everything fizzled out. They picked up Cam Newton for pretty much cheap, compared to what they could have got him for. Buy low, sell high on him. This could be the same thing with the Eagles. They do want another guy in the committee with Sanders. If Sanders left alone, he could get a workload because near the end of the season, he started to really turn it up after week 13 in regards to attempts. He finished 15th in PPR amongst running backs. If he gets the volume, if he is the main guy and the Eagles believe in him, which I don't think they do as of right now, this guy's a top 10 finisher. If he gets going, gets that volume and attempts, I love the upside, okay? Number 8 here, huge boomer bust candidate. Again, leaning towards bust here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Listen, love the talent, love the upside. The Kansas City Chiefs invest end of first round, first overall pick for them, this year in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Low center of gravity, strong, great vision, nose for the end zone, can catch the ball in the backfield, dynamic playmaker, shifty. I love the guy, okay? Problem is here, Damian Williams is still there. Now, Damian Williams is not a guy I see as a threat because he sucks, but the problem is he's good enough to be a pest in the thorn and in the side of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going to be a thorn, okay? Then another thing I noticed here, in between him and McCoy, mind you, they didn't play the full season, and Williams only had 11 games in this, but they had 212 attempts combined. These are the top 2 running backs for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not a lot of attempts, right? With Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if he's going to succeed, he's got to catch the ball a lot. And in a team that has a lot of targets, will Clyde Edwards-Helaire catch the ball a lot? That is the big question. And I don't think so, man. I think he's going to catch the ball, but enough to make him a worthy second round pick, top 10, top 11 finish where he's kind of sitting. He's actually sitting 16th amongst running backs in the rankings, but he's coming off, mid to late second round. Is he worth that second round pick when I can get myself a Leonard Fournette, Gurley, guys that are proven, guys that know the offense, guys that have been on the team, well, not so much Gurley, but guys that have been on the team for a little bit longer that could really succeed. Now, Gurley, I think he's going to be integrated. He's going to be a plug and play with the Falcons. I think that offense is set. I think he'll work just fine, and I think he's got the experience. The arthritis is not an issue. I'd rather have Todd Gurley than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But then again, we're going back to that boom or bust conversation. Could be a total boom, but with a boom comes risk, and I think he's going to lean towards bust. But be cautious. I love the talent, but I don't know if the situation is ideal in regards to volume, okay? Number 9 and 10, 2 wide receivers. Number 9, Odell. Keep it really light with this guy. Very simple. Years to wow us. We're not wowed. Has not made that catch. I think it was like 5 years or 6 years ago since he had that major catch there that put him on the radar, and has done nothing for 3 years. Honestly, like literally nothing. All this overhype, all this overdrafting. But again, I got to say here, this could be a year he could actually boom, but I'm going to stay away. 3 years in a row, he was drafted in the first round, and the mainstream said this guy's going to have a great year. 3 years in a row, he busted. I can't trust the guy. I just cannot trust the guy. Stay away from Odell. And number 10 here, Juju Smith. Another guy, could be a boom or bust. The problem with him, and again, Odell is sitting top 10 right now amongst wide receivers, which is crazy, and Juju's sitting 14th. Juju not proven to us that he can handle the double coverage. That's the bottom line. A guy I definitely don't trust. I'd rather have Deontay Johnson or Chase Claypool later instead of investing a third-round pick in Juju or even Odell. Third-round pick. Mind you, Odell's better value than he has been the past 3 years. Still going to stay away from that situation. But another situation with Juju and Odell, it could be a total boom year. Are you willing to invest a third-round pick? That's the question mark. To me, I'm grabbing another running back, okay? I'm loading up on that position. I'm getting David Johnson, a guy that I know is guaranteed that workload. I know he's going to be efficient, and I know he's going to succeed. So it's up to you guys. Whatever your preferences, that's what makes fantasy football so exciting. You got to make a decision, and it's all up to you. But I'm laying it out to you. These guys could totally bust or totally boom. I see the ceiling. Some of these guys go off. Clyde Edwards-Helaire could be top 5. Who knows? Drake could be, injured by second week. We don't know. Okay? All I'm doing is laying out the facts for you and telling you, warning, red flags. There's a ton of them for all these guys. Okay? Kenyan Drake, years to wow us. We're not wowed. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, outscoring him 6 out of the 8 weeks. Tyreek Hill, only finishing top 3 once in the past 4 years. Be cautious. These are all important facts and statistics you got to take under consideration if you consider drafting any of these guys, okay? Be cautious, all right? Make sure you guys smash thumbs up, follow FTFN on Twitch. There's a link below. And of course, get the 16-round draft solution where I pour my heart and soul into everything here to help you guys dominate your leagues. Get it at thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. I appreciate you guys being here. Leave a comment. I'll get to as many questions as I can. And of course, text me as well. There's a number below. All right, guys, I am out.